maybe we'll say a couple of words to the group that we have working on the private side, who are interested in not only supporting things like what you're doing, but implementing like safety procedures and other things, educating themselves, interested in glasses that you're wearing with the screens, and other things about in-home hazards, different types of lights they should or shouldn't use when they're walking outside, what kind of eye protection, anything that you found that would be useful to the individual at this point, as well as how to start an awareness of what their local agencies are doing to them that they may not know about yet.
Well, one of the things that we've started to do here in the UK, which I think can be used in the US as well, is we have an indictable crime document. We know that 5G is an indictable crime, but what we're saying to people is obviously, we didn't actually have all of this relevant documentary evidence until basically just the last few months. So what we say to people is, look, if you're involved in 5G, it's time to step away, right? Because obviously you've committed a number of crimes. However, this document states quite clearly that if you don't step away, then that will show intent. It'll show intent to harm. It's a bit like if I walk down the street, I knock into somebody, it's a bit of an accident, we didn't know at the time, it gives you a bit of an excuse. It's potentially somebody might sue you or they may get yourself into trouble. However, if I walk down the street and I deliberately knock into somebody, we're talking about intent here. So anybody carrying on with a 5G crime, that shows intent to harm. So this document, it's on the Save Us Now website, so that people can go and have a look at it, and it tells you what to do, get names, because what we don't want is people hiding behind organisations, authorities, etc. So get names, and once you have a name, you then blast that off, and this basically puts them on notice that any further involvement in 5G that we now know is in fact an indictable crime, they will be shown to have intent to harm. Massive. It's had a massive response. We're starting to see significant, like a fracture of the authorities.
So if your community is aware that the 5G systems are starting to be put in by the private telecom companies, which is true certainly all over the U.S. to an increasing degree and other places too. The idea is to take this document that you're sharing on the website and put in the names of the people that you know in your city or county government that is allowing this and supporting it, and put them on notice that they're committing crimes by allowing this to happen. And I know that having gone to the city council meetings where I live, and this happens all over the U.S., they're saying, well, we'd really love to help you, of course, because we're only here for your benefit. But the state and the federal government have put in laws that you cannot object to anything the telecom companies are doing on health basis. That's off the table. And so the city council and the county say, we'd really like to help you, but we're prohibited from doing that.
There is no law under God that says you can harm a man, woman, or a child. No law. There's no government law that can actually state that. And this is a matter of fact. So those individuals need to get that document sent to them as soon as possible to show that they are actually acting in a criminal way. The 5G, we know under international US law, UK law, and international laws is a crime against humanity. Consequently, that document puts them on notice that any further involvement in this rollout or the acquiescence of it, a human rights crime, if I give people information in relation to a human rights crime and they do not act, that can be seen as a criminal act in itself. Their inaction can be seen as a crime. So we know this is a human rights crime. We know what's really going on. We need to send this to these documents, these individuals, right, and wake them up, because when they go and see a solicitor or a lawyer in the firm or the authority where they work, and they go, oh, blinking heck, you're on your own here. You're on your own.
So we have all these agencies, for example. I think they have other similar things in other countries. And the agencies have been basically authorized to write what they call policy, and that becomes a de facto law. And it doesn't need Congress or anything legal to make it. It just says, some bureaucrat says, okay, this is our policy now, for your benefit, of course. And that acts as the law, and they use that in combination with private companies like the telecom companies who say, well, we're not restricted by the limits on government because we're private companies. And so we're just doing this and we're working together, and it's all illegal, but they just don't seem to care at this point.
The sooner we wake enough people up, and they will soon start to care. And this conversation that goes out, and those documents, believe, are causing a massive stir here. They'll cause a larger stir in the US, I've got no doubt, because the lawyer firms, they'll want to make some money. There's an opportunity here for some money to be made.
Right. So this is like one of those ads for how to get rich quick, and it's for attorneys and other people like that. You don't have to buy a secret code device or something like that. You just have to realize this is the next asbestos.
This is bigger. I showed it to a lawyer. There's a guy who lives not far from me. What happens? He works away 2 or 3 months at a time, and he normally fills his bird feeder, his small bird feeder. Came back. He's been away 3 months. Not a single peanut had been taken out of the bird feeder. I'd already had a conversation when he developed a brain cancer. So anyway, I went off to the guy's home. He's only a young chap. He's not even 60 yet. Goes off to his home, and anyway, we measured the radiation. One of these small dielectric lens antennas, they're only about that big, outside of his bedroom window by about 2 meters. And anyway, measured the radiation in his bedroom was 5,000 millivolts. Council Europe 1815 resolution says the maximum is 600, but 200 for long term. Now, that's the international courts, that's the judges. They've taken a pragmatic view. The Bioinitiative report says no more than 30. So he's at 5,000 in his bedroom, and he said to me, is that really bad, Mark? I went, pretty dangerous, yeah, very. He went the next week to speak to his solicitor, and I went to his solicitor's office and showed him the documentary scientific evidence that we have in this technology, how it's illegal, how it's never been tested, it's absolutely in breach of the law. And then I showed him the biological issues from that type of exposure, and he said, they've broken the law, haven't they? And I went, yes. And he went, if you break the law, then you're on a back foot when it comes to any sort of claim or other. You know, it's a bit of a problem for these authorities. So we've got all that, and I think to me, it's a nice, interesting way to get this crime stopped. I'm not bothered how we stop 5G. You know, if people want to do whatever they've got to do to stop 5G, just stop 5G. But I'm trying to look at it from a more pragmatic, sensible way of doing it, as opposed, I mean, there's been a lot of them being smashed.
Well, you're letting yourself be guided by the government, of course, which is always reliable. And in this case, they're saying, look, we're using money, the money system, to get people to kill each other and to do all these terrible things. So we've demonstrated for you that if you can use a financial incentive, it will accomplish whatever you want. So you're saying, oh, good idea. Let's use it to actually do something good. And you're telling the attorneys, you can make as much money as you want. Get in on it early. You know, get the good spots, which are all available right now. Yeah. And I think it's a brilliant idea. So
we've got a very interesting legal team, and the guy's a terrier. He's been threatened about this, by the way. In fact, there's some security services meeting him tomorrow to try and tell him that what I've been telling him is not 100% correct. Unfortunately for them, it is, but that just shows the intent of them trying to dissuade him from helping me to pursue this course of action. Because obviously they listen to everything that you're saying. They cannot kill everybody, but what I'm going to tell you, 5G will kill everybody. So
and not just the humans, right?
No, not everything. Absolutely, because I've looked at the information and the technical background and the amount of power they're trying to pour out all the windmills and the sort of thing that I'm looking at them taking down the ionosphere. I really am. And I'm thinking, because these over-the-horizon weapon systems, I know how they work. You've got aluminium poured into the back of some of these planes. If I was to ignite that aluminium in the atmosphere and then pour a lot of it doesn't even bear thinking about. It's more like a biblical prophecy we're starting to talk about here, because firing. If you want to see hell on earth,
well, there's really a reason that the ionosphere is actually there, right? It's not just an accident.
No, that's
it has some functions.
It does, absolutely.
So you're talking about fairly serious developments.
Well, I don't want anybody messing about with it. We're definitely doing well. The prophecy hand of the, it's the. I think it's got something along the lines of, it's by man's hand he destroys himself. Well, guess what? That's exactly where we're heading to, and it all fits. Right. It absolutely all fits. Unfortunately, but we are most certainly here to win it.
Yeah, I think everybody should read your document and realize it could apply not only in various geographical locations, but I don't see why it couldn't apply to a lot of other elements of the same agenda that are using other deadly technologies and poisons to accomplish the same end, just to make sure that if one fails, the others work. This could be used against all of them.
All of them, yeah. Anybody's listening. People are quite, just take whatever. Anybody goes on that website and that symbology, it's really important.
Well, when you say the symbology, you want other people to start projects with the same symbology. What's the symbology?
The red and white, the poppy, the sort of. The symbology is really important, because obviously in the prophecy, which I was told, what actually happened, we tried to set up this we had a sort of political movement. We just could not come up with, the Freedom Party. We had all sorts of ideas, nothing. And then I obviously went to bed, woke up the next morning, it was all there. The sun is rising, waking humanity up. The Riscarian imagery. And I didn't know about the prophecy at that time. I've since been told that the prophecy said we use because I know that some of this symbology, it's basically speaking to the people that are supposedly behind this, they, I call them, it's talking to them. And sure enough, it's in the prophecy, we've got to use their tools to defeat them. So, unbelievable, but that's just the way it is, and I'm absolutely sure we're on the right track there.
Yeah, I think so too. Okay, well, I've kept you long enough, and hold on for a minute, and we'll say goodbye in the break, and thanks for sharing, and we'll stay in touch.